Yeah? Okay, so there are a little bit more people than we expected maybe, so I'll do a little bit more thorough intro maybe. Like, what are we doing? Trying to do. So what if capital was peer-to-peer? What if you and I, what if we commanded the forces of finance? What would it mean? This is like our starting point. So, with which we've been working for some time. We established our own hedge fund 3 years ago, called Robinhood Asset Management Cooperative. We released an algorithm which we called the Parasite that copied the consensus moves of the financial elite, financial oligarchy at the American stock exchanges. We followed all the transactions over 100 million or more, and the Parasite followed their consensus actions and then replicated synthetically in our portfolio their consensus moves. It worked pretty well, and we built around it a cooperative hedge fund. So where the idea is that, basically we kind of created a way to appropriate the most important means of production financial oligarchy had in its use, their knowledge, their positions, their relationships. We locked into the brains of Wall Street, and we took their means of production and we put them to work for us. So we organized Robinhood. Originally was thought of as a channel to share these means of production to everybody. So everybody could join the co-op with a 30 euro share. And after today, I hope that everybody here will join us. And how we thought about it was that we kind of created this simulacrum, or this false monstrous power, which we copied the model of financial asset accumulation, but we made a bad copy of it, and it started to open into something new. Something new became possible, and we called it minor asset management. The members decide like which part of the profit they take themselves, which part they keep in the common pool, of which we then invest in the commons producing projects. There are at the moment about 800 members in the co-op. The assets under management are growing towards 1 million, and we've made so far about 150,000 to Robinhood members and Robinhood projects. Dollars. So that was our pilot. That was our first attempt to use finance and financial technologies for creative, distributive organizational purposes. Maybe what was most important to us was that we understood that we really have the power and imagination to re-engineer finance, to make it a place of creation. But we also understood that there's really a need and a necessity for inventing more means of financial creation. And that what we have done so far is just a beginning in inventing the new social architecture of finance. So, what we're doing at the moment what we are building at the moment, basically we are trying to take on a more monstrous form, a financial platform of the future. So just like, in a sense, Bitcoin broke the taboo of money and showed that money, something which is thought to be centralized, can be engineered and organized in a distributed way. We are now engineering in a similar way some little bit more financial instruments. Instruments which have more dynamism, which are more which are have more dimensions and work in a more dynamic way. So we're developing this series of peer-to-peer financial services which would correspond to the needs of these emerging new economic operators, peers, makers, co-creators, collaborators, movements which are often collective and simply do not have available suitable means of economic creation or means of financial creation which would correspond to the way, what they want to do, how they want to do, and when they want to do it. So we think really that we need new forms of owning things, we need new ways of financing and doing things together, we need new and smarter ways of distributing the flows of value back to those who are creating it, we need new ways of distributing cash and risk flows. We need ways to come together, create together opportunities which might otherwise not exist, new ways of acting on them, speculating, hedging, arbitraging together. So this is what we want to do next. That's why we are also here.
Having ways to distribute things, to organize knowledge, to know who can do what, when, etc., and where are the resources. And in that sense, what we've been looking at is how the new structures that also underlie and maybe assure finance are also something that could serve organizations that could then automate things, but also share them internationally, not just necessarily on a local level. And for us, what is happening here, the skill level, the experience, is essentially reflecting these possibilities and something that we think we could provide some tools for, and we could build some tools for, which are inherently integrated with the financial questions. There is almost every organization might need their own form of finance, or it's like variation of it, how they approach it, and their own opinion and attitude towards finance. And this is something we've been thinking that is the case, and that seems to be the case here.
People are also sort of like wanting to get rid of the government and the state. They very much favor precisely peer-to-peer relationship and solidarity economy and that sort of thing. And what is so good now with this moment in technological development, both in financial technology and technological development in terms of blockchain and so on, is that it makes possible to have those kind of peer-to-peer relationships without any centralized control system or centralized decision systems. And that is sort of where we see that we can, or where we want to work with these networks.
To find out and understand better what is going on here and learn as much as possible. So we arrived on Monday, and we've been spending a lot of time especially with Solidarity for All. And it's very impressive work. I think it's so professional. How the solidarity centers are also organized, and that has been a really much more than I expected. Then, secondly, we had an opportunity to bring some of our good friends from Italy, France, from California, who are really great thinkers, I think, of how we could perhaps understand the concept of finance in terms of new equity relations, in terms of common fare. So these days we try to work with these issues a little bit more conceptually. And then tomorrow we run a prototyping session, like a kind of a testing session of the set of tools what we've been designing with the groups we've been meeting. Like we are trying to play a game how would these new peer-to-peer financial tools work in the hands of creative users.
Maybe just a short introduction of today's speaker. We're going to start with Andrea Fumagalli now. Andrea Fumagalli has been very active. I think he's leading the network for basic income network in Italy, asking for basic income for everybody as a means of emancipation from waged work and also from the dynamics of need. He's also a professor of economics at the University of Pavia, a member of the Ephemera Network, and he's part of the kind of post-workerist, neo-workerist, Marxist theory milieu. Then we're going to have Robert Meister, who teaches and researches in Santa Cruz at the History of Consciousness Center, the Center for the History of Consciousness in Santa Cruz, and he's going to talk to us about the research they've been conducting there at the Center for Rethinking Capitalism, about how to think Marx and finance in the new way, how to think about the financial mode of production as an alternative to the Marx theory of commodity, which you can find in Marx. And he's been involved in with Robin Hood recently. Shall I add anything more? And then we have Carlo Vercellone, who's just come from Paris. Shocked everything that's happened. Obviously, he's been telling us about it. Carlo Vercellone is again part of this Marxist post-workerist theory milieu. He teaches and researches at La Sorbonne, Maison Économique. Is the author of many essays and articles about the concept of common fare, which is going to maybe say a little bit later. And he's also been a key actor in the Decent Network, which is a European project aiming to investigate decentralized technology for democracy and economic and finance economic production, which has also come out with some tools for creating new kinds of currencies which can help to construct this new economy of the common. And my name is Tiziana Terranova, and I've been a member of Robin Hood for a year and a half. I joined the board in 2014. I'm a researcher in the field of new media technologies and work and live at the University, live in Naples, and teach at the University of Naples L'Orientale.
Let's go.